Yeah, well, when you talk about, how do you explain the origin of biochemical systems, that is technically under the umbrella of the origin of life problem. And the idea here, when you talk about the origin of life scientifically, you're really talking about how did the very first cells emerge on Earth. That's all you're dealing with scientifically when you talk about the origin of life. And the materialistic explanation would be some type of chemical evolution where on the early Earth there would have been mechanisms that would have generated small organic materials called prebiotic molecules, or maybe those materials would have been delivered to the early Earth through some kind of extraterrestrial delivery, and that within the Earth's oceans or at hydrothermal vents, or some other location on the Earth, there would be reactions taking place that would convert those molecules into more complex molecules that eventually would lead to the building blocks of life, the building block materials that would make DNA, proteins, cell membranes, and that they would not only complexify, to use a technical term, but they would also aggregate into protocells that eventually would acquire the capacity for self-replication and acquire the capacity for metabolism, and through that process evolve to give rise to the very first true cells, and eventually continue to evolve and get more and more complex until they would form an organism called LUCA, the last universal common ancestor that would anchor the evolutionary tree of life. And the primary evidence that people will cite for chemical evolution are laboratory experiments. You can't really travel back in time to observe what happened on the early Earth, although, origin of life researchers would love to be able to do that. And you can study the geochemical record and in the oldest rocks on Earth to get some kind of clues. But primarily what researchers do is they go in the lab and they try to recapitulate the different steps they think took place that led from simple molecules to, in effect, the very first cells. And to be fair, origin of life researchers have identified a number of chemical pathways that could, in principle, contribute to the origin of life. And this is really the collective work over the last 70, maybe 80 years now